I just wanted you to know.
Hello and welcome to Basscast number 15. I am Ev.
And I am X.
Ev and X are here.
Evan X.
Evan X. Evan X? Could that be a band name? Evan X?
Well, I know that there's Evanescence.
Yeah,
but
Evanescence.
I don't know about Evan X.
Evan X? It could work.
I guess. I guess it could work.
All right, so Evan X, today let's have an argument. I just want to fight with you today.
Oh boy.
So
Luckily we're 3,000 miles away from each other.
Yeah, wait, 3,000?
I'm kidding. It's more like less like what, 500, 600 miles.
Yeah, I think it's more like 600, not really 5,000, not 3,000. Anyway, let's fight. Okay, so we originally had this idea to have episodes where we do like WebEv RedX fights, and so, obviously Alex and I don't agree with each other on everything. One thing that we definitely don't agree on, like as far as like our favorite artists, we can agree that I can agree with Alex that his favorite artists are good, but his favorite artists are not my favorite artists, and so we were thinking that we could do some stuff on, like where we disagree on certain artists, like why is this artist better than this artist? But the problem with that is like every single artist has their own theme, their own sound, and so it's really hard to compare artists and say this artist is definitely better than this artist because of this reason. So I would like for us to not do that. But what I would like for us to do is argue about how we consume our EDM music. Okay. Now, I would say the two. Well, okay, hang on a second. Let me think here, because I'm trying to think of the most popular ways that people consume music. Not just EDM fans consuming EDM music, but what are some of the most popular ways that people consume music? I mean, obviously you've got Spotify, right? You've got Spotify.
Yes. Spotify, SoundCloud.
Well, I don't think SoundCloud is too popular with like people that just like to listen to normal, maybe like pop music. I don't think SoundCloud is.
I think you're kind of right about that. It's more for like, I want to say, well, definitely for EDM, and I think also maybe for rap and maybe upcoming artists of that genre.
Definitely,
maybe. I'm not entirely too sure.
Definitely EDM, definitely rap music. I think we should throw in, because now there's like Apple Music, which I don't even know really how that works. I think you have to pay for it.
It's like a subscription. It's like YouTube. The YouTube subscription thing, it's like, because there's a lot of subscription music, I guess. What was like?
You mean like where you pay for a subscription on YouTube, right, and you can see specific?
Yeah, and you have access to all of these songs.
Well, there's that. There's also YouTube Music as well, isn't there?
Yes.
Like, is YouTube?
Well, that's YouTube Music. I think. I'm not sure if it's a part. What is the name of the new? It's not YouTube Red anymore. What is it called again? It's like YouTube Premium. That's YouTube what I think Premium, what it is.
But that's for all videos. I'm talking about there's a YouTube Music, isn't there?
Yeah, which I'm saying, I think there's a way to pay for just YouTube Music, and then if you get YouTube Premium, then you can watch or download any YouTube video and have YouTube Music. I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
But what?
Because I was kind of thinking about getting that whenever I graduate or whatever.
What, YouTube Premium or YouTube Music?
YouTube Premium.
But isn't the only benefit of that just no ads? Or do you get access to more stuff?
Yeah, I mean, you get access to the YouTube Premium, like shows and movies, like the original movies. Like, for instance, like I'm a big PewDiePie fan, and you can watch the first season of Scare PewDiePie if it's still up by the time I get it. Or any other YouTubers show that they've made, or the original or YouTube original movies.
But you would never consider getting the YouTube Music if it costs.
Well, it's included with the YouTube Premium, though.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. So if you get Premium, then you get YouTube Music.
Yes.
But why would... I mean, unless you just hate advertisements, which, I mean, let's be honest, we all do, right? I mean, we all hate ads.
Right.
But I don't know why you would ever get YouTube Music, because from what I can tell, pretty much every single song you could ever want to hear is on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I remember, well, first one, back in like 2011, 2012, when I first started listening to EDM, specifically dubstep, I listened to it on YouTube because I had Spotify back at the time. I had Spotify and Pandora back in like the 2012 era. And Spotify didn't have the library that it has now, so you could find some EDM on there, but not nearly the amount that you can find there now. Pandora, like,
oh my goodness,
I have problems with Pandora.
Goodness. Pandora is just straight up trash in my opinion now.
I mean, the problem with Pandora is that you can never choose a song you want to listen to.
No, it's specifically designed for listening to quote unquote radio stations of the artist who you're wanting to listen to.
It just doesn't seem...
Unless it's changed in the past, 6 years since I've listened to Pandora.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. Maybe Pandora has that now. I don't think it does.
I don't know. Ever since I moved to SoundCloud, it's just... Or Spotify... Well, ever since I moved to SoundCloud and Spotify.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
I've never went back.
We'll get to that in a second because you were with Spotify first, and then you moved you moved completely to SoundCloud. But we'll get to that in a second. But
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I do not understand why. Like, unless we're missing something, I just feel like YouTube Music is pointless because every song ever is already on YouTube. And again, maybe that's just they just really, really hate ads, which is a possibility.
Well, another thing with YouTube Music and the YouTube Premium is that you get to download these videos. So when you download, you don't have to worry about ads. That's one thing, and you don't have to worry about data or Wi-Fi.
So you're actually downloading the music onto your phone?
But you get to choose which song and which video you want to download. That's another upside to YouTube Premium.
But then again, another downside is that is going to be taking up a lot of space on your phone.
True. That is true, but I mean, like, whenever you're done with the video or whenever you're done with a song, when you don't want to listen to it anymore, I mean, you can just delete it.
I guess, yeah, you could do that. It seems like a lot of work, but maybe that's just me being lazy.
And plus, phones these days, they already have, like, a minimum of, like, over 64 gigs of memory in there for a phone, at least. I mean, because that's mainly what I would probably be using YouTube Premium on, or YouTube Music or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so song files are not that big, take up that much memory. Like a 4 or 5 minute song is probably like 5 megabytes or something, right?
I mean, yeah, I don't really know well, I think it depends, because like you can zip up song files and make them smaller, but I don't know if phones can do that, or if phones do that.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, I think as far as what we did have access to a few years ago compared to what we have access to now, I just don't know why you would use Pandora unless you literally do not care about specific songs. If you don't care about specific songs, you just want to hear an artist, then okay, I guess I could see Pandora.
Yeah,
But
like
even,
another reason why I think you would use Pandora is, say you're wanting to listen to a future-based station, and so you search for ATLiens or Seven Lines or whoever, and maybe you're just trying to search for another not well-known future-based artist, so to speak.
yeah, but I feel like I can already do that on Spotify, because Spotify, every single artist that you like, if you go to their page, you
Right.
get related artists, or you can see a list of all the, well, you can see all the artists that they collab with. You can see a list of artists that are similar to that artist.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you go look at I'm trying to think of a good example, like a dark artist like Rezz or something, you can then go and see related artists, and you'll see people like Ghastly. You might see Rezz in there. I mean, it's just like, I just don't like. I understand Pandora. It's like it's doing the work for you, but I think for you and me, and I would imagine this is the same for most EDM fans, I don't think that there is I think most EDM fans want to pick out their own music and not just hear whatever. Like, because I know that there's always specific songs that EDM fans like.
Oh yeah, I totally 100% agree with that. Because just listening, because going back, since we're talking about Pandora, because Pandora, you have to listen to those radio stations unless it's changed since the last time I've listened to Pandora, and not being able to choose specific songs, it's kind of annoying.
It definitely is annoying. I mean, you can go to Pandora and say, "Hey, I want to listen to a Bass Nectar station," and the first two songs will be Bass Nectar, and then the third one will be a completely different artist.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't like that. Like, I told Pandora I want to listen to Bass Nectar, not Seven Lions. I mean, I love, obviously we love Seven Lions, but if I want to listen to a Bass Nectar station, only play me Bass Nectar.
Right.
So anyways, that brings us to our two most favorite music listening platforms. And again, I would throw YouTube in there, because I've on my YouTube account, I've got a playlist of songs that I enjoy listening to, but that are not on Spotify or SoundCloud. Now, that list is very small. There's only like maybe 6 or 7 songs on there, but every once in a while there is a point where a song that I like or a song that I've heard is not on SoundCloud or Spotify. It's very rare. It's very, very rare, but it does happen sometimes. So I feel like YouTube is like a last resort as far as finding music, especially if it's like, double bootleg music that, only one artist has played in a set or something like that. If it's not an official release, then someone probably ripped it from a set and put it on YouTube, which again, that's fine. I mean, if that gets you the song that you want to listen to, then maybe that's what you have to do. But as far as finding music, I've found like 99.9% of the songs that I want to listen to, I've found on SoundCloud or Spotify, I would say.
Yeah, same for me. Because there have been songs in the past, or EPs and albums in the past, to where, I think, I want to say, I think it was Crank Dad and probably Excision that have released, their albums or their EPs, and they were released on Spotify first. And I was kind of a little bit mad at that, but eventually, 2 or 3 days later, they would then release them on SoundCloud, which I was then happy for, but like...
Yeah, let's get into that. So this is one of the things that you and I do not agree on, because, well, when you first started listening to EDM music, how did you listen on Spotify only?
First off, initially I started listening to it on Pandora.
Oh, okay.
So, I believe I started, because you showed me some EDM.
Well, I probably showed you Pandora initially, just because that's how I was listening to it.
Right.
But then I hated the fact that it would never play the song that I wanted to listen to.
Yeah. So initially, I started listening to Skrillex, and so, because he was the big dubstep artist back in the day, and I started listening to his channel. And then I think I also listened to Bass Nectar's radio channel as well. And so I I was listening to Skrillex's channel one day on Pandora, and I heard the song by none other than Zomboy. And I forget what song it was. I don't remember what song it was, but then I think I either searched it on YouTube or something like that. And so then I'm pretty sure I downloaded Spotify on my laptop then. Got Spotify eventually and just went from there. And so I was on Spotify for a pretty good while of my middle school and high school days. And then
it's like basically 5 to 6 years.
Yeah, I think, and then either my freshman year of college is when I switched to SoundCloud. I think that's what happened.
But okay, I don't understand why you switched. Like, what was there a deciding factor that made you switch?
Yes.
What was it?
So I like to think it's two things. One is the audio file that the music producer uploads to SoundCloud is a lot cleaner and a lot louder than it is on Spotify.
Okay, I have to agree with you on that. I definitely have to agree with you on that.
Yes, and then on the second reason is since I don't have SoundCloud Go, I still have to listen to ads, yes, but less ads in between songs. At least in my case, because I've only had like, I would listen to, I don't know, 5 songs in a row, and then they would play one ad, and then another 5 songs, or so to speak, and it's been great. And then because for Spotify it was awful. It was like play 1 or like 3 songs, and then you'd have 5 ads or something stupid.
That's a little trick that I know of, because if you listen to music on Spotify on your computer, you can go through and click on the next song before the song you're listening to ends, and you won't get an ad. If you let the song, so like what I'll do is I'll listen to maybe like 20, 25 songs, one right after the other, and I'll always make the next one, like I'll double click the next one before the one I'm listening to ends, and again, as long as you do that, you will not get an ad. Now, here's the problem, because I think Spotify, like I think its back-end code or whatever has a say in this, but if you do that, and then there's a point where you do let a song end and a commercial does start, you get about like a good 3 minutes of commercials. So, like, I've noticed that if you are clicking through songs a lot in Spotify and not letting them end where you don't hear any ads, if you actually do let one end, you'll get like 3 or 4 minutes worth of video ads. So I think they kind of like stack up on each other maybe. But as far as this is really what I want to know, because I actually have never talked to you about this. Like I know within the past few years you have been 100% SoundCloud. I'm about 75% Spotify, 25% SoundCloud. Like I like to use both.
Okay.
I like Spotify's interface better, and I like their program better. I think it's a little bit more cleaner and a little bit more organized, and I think playlists are a lot more easier to create and use in Spotify. But here's what I want to know from you, because do you actually even remember how many songs you had saved on Spotify, like before you moved?
I can check. I'm pretty sure it was over.
Wait, do you still have your Spotify account?
I just pulled up my Spotify and I'm not even logged in.
Wow, yep. But you still have the account. I didn't realize you still had the account.
Yeah, let me sign in through my Facebook real quick. Okay, so because I have 3 playlists. I have one labeled EDM playlist, and then we have a shared playlist.
Yeah, which you never put songs into, but you know what, that's fine.
Right.
And then we're brothers.
Okay, so in my EDM playlist, I have over 1,100 songs. Then we have the shared Web of Redx playlist, and then I just had a playlist that was specifically Bass Nectar.
Really?
Yeah.
So basically a little over 1,000 songs.
Yes.
Because I know our Web of Redx playlist doesn't have too much in there.
Mhm.
But, which, by the way, thanks for never putting any songs in there, Alex.
You're welcome.
Really, really makes me feel close to you as a brother. Anyways, so you had over 1,000 songs saved on Spotify. When you
Yes.
decided, okay, I'm moving to SoundCloud, did you say, okay, I've got to go find every single one of those songs on SoundCloud now? Because that is the epitome of my problem right now. If I decided to move, I've got like 4,000 or 5,000 songs saved on Spotify, so I would have
Right.
to go and find every single one of those songs in SoundCloud, and that would be a pain.
Yeah, I think I do kind of remember thinking that. I don't know how many of the songs that I did that were in my EDM playlist on Spotify that I tried to find on SoundCloud, but I now have, I think I have. I thought there was a way. I thought there was a way to find how many songs are in your liked
You talk about in
SoundCloud.
Yeah, in SoundCloud you can just look at your main profile page and go to your unless you got them all in different playlists
Oh, I have over 2,000 songs liked
in SoundCloud.
in SoundCloud. Yes.
Actually, that seems low. Only 2,000? Well, I guess you've only had SoundCloud for what,
Like four
4
years probably.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe that makes more sense. Because I know my Spotify playlist, like my main I call it the EDM smorgasbord. My main playlist has, I think, actually I could check right now because I'm curious. It has about 3,000 songs, but that's just my main playlist, and then I have about 30 playlists total. But I mean, a lot of these playlists are ones I don't like. I'll only throw about 5 or 6 songs into them,
Right.
just because they're like a specific genre. And it's very, very rare that I'm like, I want to listen to that type of music right now, and then I'll go over there and listen to them. But again, that's kind of rare, like having a lot of different playlists, because like it's funny, like there's so many subgenres within EDM. It would be very difficult to have a playlist for every single one of them. And the great thing about EDM music is that it mixes well together. Genres mix well together and blend well together. So it's not really necessary to have everything split up like that, I think. But I, at one point, was trying to do that with all my music, and it became a little overwhelming, so I'm not doing that anymore.
Okay. Should I? So, what I was thinking while you're saying that was one point that is kind of in your favor towards Spotify is that a lot of at least EDM based artists are kind of moving towards Spotify. Did you hear about this?
Bass artists in particular?
Well, at least the ones that I follow. They could be outside of bass music too.
I mean, elaborate. I'm not sure if I'm following you. Go ahead.
So, yeah, I mean, probably after saying this, it'll jog your memory. So, like for instance, I want to say that Sudden Death was one, and I can't remember another one.
Are you
What?
talking about like artists like exclusively releasing on Spotify first
Right.
or early, like kind of what you were
Right.
saying earlier?
Yes, because people that upload their own songs, whether they've made them by themselves or it was a collab, were literally taken down due to copyright strike, like as a copyright issue.
Oh, yes. I did hear about this, but I thought they fixed all that.
I don't know because I don't really follow that SoundCloud news. I'm not that interested into SoundCloud, drama.
SoundCloud drama. Well, I remember that there was a point where some bass artists were tweeting out like hashtag boycott SoundCloud.
Yeah, boycotting SoundCloud. Yeah.
I'm not too sure about that. I know for one thing, I feel like most artists will be more concerned about uploading on Spotify, because Spotify you can make money, and I don't think you necessarily. I mean, like you get a lot of views and a lot of clicks and a lot of exposure on SoundCloud,
Right.
but technically Spotify you can make money with your music on there. Now,
Okay.
as far as I'm pretty sure about this. It does cost to put your money on Spotify, but I think a
It
lot of.
costs to put your money on Spotify.
I mean, wow. It costs money to put
Your
music on. I can't think. It's really
It's
early.
okay. It's not.
It's really early in the morning for me. It's almost 2:00
Oh my
p.m.
goodness.
That's really early for me.
That's early for Evan.
But yeah, like I'm pretty sure. Well, I know for a fact that a lot of artists will use a platform. I don't know what it's called exactly, but it's a platform where they send their music to a company, and a company distributes their music to Spotify, to iTunes, and to several other like not Bandcamp, but oh goodness, what's the EDM?
Monster Cat?
Huh? No, not Monster Cat. What's the the top site for buying EDM music?
Is it like DJ something?
No, it's Beatport.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like they distribute music to all the different platforms, including iTunes, SoundCloud, Beatport, and probably like Amazon Music and all those things. I know that one company that does that is a company called CD Baby. I don't know if you've ever heard of them or not.
I don't think I have.
I've met a couple of artists that are not EDM artists, but are more folk music, that they release all their music on. Well, they send their music to CD Baby, and then CD Baby distributes it to all the different platforms. CD Baby also creates a YouTube video and puts their music on YouTube, which it's just interesting to me that YouTube is such a big platform for music. Like, you wouldn't really expect that, but I think a lot of people actually do use YouTube to listen to music, which, I mean, it makes sense.
Because you can also put ads on the video, which makes
on a
it
3-minute song?
like a money producer kind of thing.
You mean like at the beginning before the video even starts?
Right.
'Cause, I
You
mean,
can monetize.
you
You
better
can
not.
monetize the videos.
You better not be putting an ad in the middle of a 3-minute song. Like, that's stupid.
No, I don't. I'm
It's
not
like-
sure if that's allowed.
It's like 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello.
And then
Please
yeah.
come shop at
I don't
Walmart.
think mid rolls are allowed in. I can't. I'm not, because I'm not 100% on this. I'm not a YouTuber, so I wouldn't know any of the things that you can do for mid rolls on YouTube videos. But in the past, it's been, if it's like 10 minutes, then you can have mid rolls, or so to speak. I don't know if that's the same rules that are still applied today. But
Oh, it has to be a 10-minute video?
that's what I was hearing in the past. I don't know if that's changed. So
Well, then what if somebody uploads a set? Then I wonder if they do that. But still.
then you can, yeah, because I've watched some sets on YouTube and they've done that.
What about just like an audio set, though?
Probably.
Speaking of sets, I know you're a big set guy. I know.
Mhm.
Do you like do you like to listen to sets more than individual songs?
I mean, I would say equally.
Equally, okay. I'm wondering if that's another reason you like SoundCloud more, is because an artist is way more apt to put like one of their set, like put like a full set that they've done at Ultra, at EDC or whatever, on
Yeah.
SoundCloud than they would be on to Spotify.
Right, because have you seen any sets on Spotify?
I think I've seen a few mixes, but as far as a full set, I don't think so. And I don't
Because
really
that's-
know why. Maybe there's definitely not a limit on what you can upload to Spotify. Now, I will say though, some artists upload sets as podcasts, and of course you can listen to podcasts on Spotify, which, by the way, you should be listening to Basscast on Spotify. But if an artist uploads a full set on Spotify, it might not get as many clicks as it would on SoundCloud.
I think you're right. Because obviously, because it's louder, and that's what makes it better.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think it's because there must be some kind of filter for the audio file when it goes through Spotify than when it does through SoundCloud.
Well,
There must not be any altercation to the file, so to speak.
Well, you know how there's Spotify like free and there's Spotify Premium.
Right.
That costs. So I've heard that Spotify Premium, if you buy it, then the audio quality and the volume is the same as SoundCloud.
Really?
Yes. And I have a friend that's got I cannot talk today. I've got a friend that has Spotify Premium, and he showed me, like, we listened to a song in his car on SoundCloud, and then we listened to the same song on Spotify Premium, and it sounded the same. It sounded the same. We had the volume turned up the same amount in the car for both songs, and it was the official song released by the artist in both cases. Then I connected my Spotify free account to his Bluetooth in his car, played the song. Well, actually no, I couldn't do that because you can't. You
had to shuffle.
Yeah, you have to shuffle. So I forgot how we did that. I think I made a playlist
Of just that one song.
Yes, it's so stupid. Like you have to mess with the system with Spotify sometimes, which maybe that's another reason that you left. But yeah, I think I made a playlist of only that. It was like that song, but 30 times, and so you have to shuffle playlists if you're on Spotify free and you're listening on your mobile device. And so I think we did that, and we played that same song, and the sound quality, I couldn't really tell the difference in the sound quality, but the volume definitely was lower. And I do this all the time. Like, I will listen to Spotify free on shuffle in my car, and I have to turn the volume up because it's not as loud. But then if I turn on SoundCloud and listen to music on SoundCloud, then the volume is higher. So you have to turn the volume lower in your car. That's a little frustrating. I know that's a small, that's kind of nitpicky, but that's a little frustrating that Spotify does that. And again, I know they're a business; they're trying to make money, but still, it's a little cheap if you ask me.
Yeah, I think that's a huge plus towards SoundCloud. Am I right?
Yeah, but the problem with it is Spotify is so clean and organized. I feel like it's so much more organized than SoundCloud. SoundCloud has all these lines going all over the place for each song. I know that's part of the format or whatever. I'm kind of just making jokes here, but I feel like the format of Spotify is just so much cleaner and easier, and like the interface of Spotify is easier to use and easier to figure out than SoundCloud. Now, I will say one other plus about SoundCloud is their feed, like, because you can follow a bunch of artists and then always get all the new music from artists.
Oh, yeah, because they they reshare songs.
Yeah, exactly. They're always reposting songs. That's great. I love that. But I think another thing is that I've used Spotify for so long, I'm almost scared to switch over to a completely different format 100%, just because I know I'm going to have to go through and find 3,000 songs and find them in the new platform. And that's just going to be a pain.
I just certainly didn't mind doing it. I think I might have done that. I probably did, but I mean, luckily I didn't do, I guess too many songs, since I only now have since just today I have over 2,000 songs.
Well, I've got about 3,000 on Spotify, and then almost another 1,000 on SoundCloud. Well, yeah, about that much. But I just find it interesting that you just completely left Spotify. Like, you don't even use it anymore at all.
No, I don't.
Do you ever use YouTube now? For music?
For just not for music, no.
But
another thing with the YouTube Premium is that when you get YouTube Premium, you can then turn on a video and close up the app without having to leave the app open.
Wait, say that one more time?
So, if you're watching a YouTube video and say, okay, so you're in the YouTube app and you start a video. You know how if you go back to the home screen, you can't keep listening? With YouTube Premium, you can.
Ah, really?
Yes.
I thought one time I found a way to do that with YouTube Free. Because I know one time I did something and I was able to able to close the app. Mm-hmm. Not completely turn it off, but I was able to just go back to the home screen. And I was still listening to whatever it was that was on there. I don't know how I did that, but I think there is some kind of hack to do that. I'm not sure how to do it though. But I'm trying to think if there's any other pros and cons as far as Spotify versus SoundCloud. Again, you're going to get a more of a variety of different types of music, not just EDM, but more different types of music on Spotify. So I feel like most traditional music fans are going to go to Spotify first because you've got more types of music there. SoundCloud is great for EDM and rap because it seems like pretty much every EDM artist, and I think most rappers as well, are on SoundCloud. And so they post and they upload pretty much everything that they're doing on there. So there's definitely some stuff on SoundCloud that's not on Spotify. I would say as far as EDM goes, everything that's in Spotify is in SoundCloud, but not everything that's in SoundCloud is in Spotify. So
to go along with what you just said there, I'm pretty sure, I don't think Spotify does this, but for some of the bigger name songs, let me switch Chainsmokers just because I know that they've done this for Chainsmokers.
Are you going to say that they have it where you have to pay to listen
yes.
to
So another downside, oh my goodness, what in the world? Another downside to SoundCloud is that if you have if there's a big name that releases a song, like for instance, I know the Chainsmokers have done this on SoundCloud. You have to have SoundCloud Go in order to listen to the full song. They'll give you only just a little snippet of the song.
First 2 milliseconds of it, and they're like, oh, the rest of it. Okay, I've noticed more and more EDM artists doing that. I've seen, like you said, the Chainsmokers do it. Also, Alice in Wonderland does it. And...
oh, wow.
And somebody who I saw do it literally this week, Keizo.
Which song did he do it with?
Whatever his most recent one was. I think it was some kind of collab. I'll try to find it real quick. Well, I thought Cruel Love.
Let me...
featuring Frank Zemo and Shy Beast.
He did.
Look at this. Oh my goodness, Keizo gets over 100,000 clicks on every song, and then you get to this one, this Cruel Love song.
It's 2,000 plays.
2,000 plays. Of course, it's pretty new, but still.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know why. I mean, I guess I understand why.
We understand why. It's just we just wish they didn't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes down to it, it's all business. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's what we have to remember. Everything that we're seeing, yeah, it's creativity, yeah, it's art, but it's also, at its core, it's business.
But see, I believe that there are ways around that because people will re-upload the song in full. Like, for instance, the next song under it is the same exact song, but it's uploaded by a different person. That's not Keizo. But they may have altered the audio file in some way, but it could be the same exact song.
But then doesn't Keizo have the right to copy strike it?
Yes.
On SoundCloud?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's not even Keizo's decision. Maybe it's somebody else's decision. But the point is, somebody made the decision to monetize that song on SoundCloud. so less people have exposure to it. And the decision to do that was based on money. I mean, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, pretty much. I mean, that's whenever you see that little Go Plus in the top right corner of the album or EP art or whatever, it's like, yep, you aren't listening to this song, or you can't have this song unless you're gonna pay for it.
Right.
Luckily, there's the majority of EDM artists don't do that. Well, at least the bass music artists that we listen to don't do that
yet.
Well, for right now, we can enjoy it while we can.
Yeah, listen to your bass music while you can before they do that. But even if they did that though, like somebody would upload it to YouTube probably.
Yeah.
I would like to know if we can ever get an artist on here to interview that has music on Spotify. I would like to know if, well, I don't want to ask them about like specific figures, but I would like to know if Spotify is profitable to put their music on like Spotify if it's profitable.
I assume it is.
I've heard these like ridiculous numbers, like each play you get on Spotify is like worth 0.0001 cents or something like that. So I mean, it's like you can have like millions of plays on Spotify, but it's not a ton of money, you know?
Right.
I think artists probably get more money from selling music, like CDs, EPs, individual songs online, because obviously every time you release music, it's getting put on like Google Play, Amazon Music, iTunes, and people are buying it.
Right.
But again, that's still a whole nother subject, and I feel like a majority of EDM fans do not buy music. They probably find a way around buying it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. I'm like, that's me 100%, because I listen to if it's free and I can listen to it, then I'm all down for that.
So you would never ever consider getting SoundCloud Go or whatever it is?
I mean, as of today, not really, since there are so many other songs that are free. So, I mean, why have to pay for something if in another form it's free?
I mean, again, I think it's like some people do that, like for Spotify Premium. I know some people do that just because they literally just hate ads. They just loathe ads, which I understand, but I mean,
I don't absolutely loathe them. I mean, yeah, they're annoying, but it's like I can bear them.
I will say, ads, like if you're listening to music in the car, if you're listening to a playlist in the car, and an ad comes on after like let's say you have a trap song, a dubstep song, then a mid-tempo song, and it's all really good music that you're like, oh yeah, this is great. And then an ad comes, it really is a buzzkill. It's a big time buzzkill. And the more ads, the worse. Like, you know, if it's one ad, maybe you can get over it, but if it's like 3 or 4 ads, like what Spotify usually does, then it is a little bit of a buzzkill, I would say. But I feel like at this point I'm used to it, so it's not going to drive me crazy enough to buy premium, which again, that's what they're trying to do when it comes down to it. They're trying to annoy you with ads to say, oh yeah, well you hate these ads, well then buy premium. Oh, you're a student? Yeah, you can have premium for $2.99 or something like that. Or you can get you can get a Spotify premium for half the price for the first 6 months or something like that. Of course, they have all these deals. I mean, they're just doing whatever they can to basically beg you to get premium or to get the paid prescription. Wow, the paid subscription.
And to go off of that for SoundCloud, I don't ever hear, I mean, at least whenever I'm listening to SoundCloud, I don't ever hear a SoundCloud ad. Telling me to
hear a SoundCloud ad?
I mean, never. It's always, well, I mean, today, since it's today in July of 2019, I always get the stupid Tide ad or whatever. But like I feel like I rarely get a SoundCloud ad.
Really? Because I feel like I've been getting more SoundCloud ads recently. I think I told you this recently, but like over the past 2 months, when I listen to SoundCloud, like especially if it's music on my trending tab or like the feed tab or whatever. Like I'll listen to 2 songs and then go to the next one and then get an ad. Like 1 or 2 or 3 songs and then get an ad. And it didn't used to be like that. It used to be where SoundCloud was way more forgiving about ads than Spotify, and now it's almost shifted. At least for me. I don't know if that's the case for other people, but it sounds like it's.
It
not
hasn't
the case
been for
you.
me.
I'm pretty sure.
Like I know that it hasn't been for me in that I want to say that because the ads that whenever I play SoundCloud, whenever I'm down there with you, are different than when I am up here at home. Because and to kind of like answer what you were saying about that you would have a couple songs and then like you would have an ad and then another 2 songs or 3 and then another ad. That hasn't really happened to me. But whenever I get an ad for SoundCloud, it's always the same exact ad, and it's like that Tide ad or whatever.
You really hate that Tide ad, don't you?
It's terrible. I mean, they literally say it's annoying in the actual ad, so.
Oh, yeah, it's so stupid when they try to millennialize everything. Like they say, oh, this is an ad. You probably hate this ad.
Have you seen those on YouTube? Those State Farm commercials where it's like it's a skippable ad, but like the person's like literally saying, "Here, you might want to go ahead and press the skip button." Or
yes,
whatever.
they do that now. They'll make it where the first, because like in YouTube, whenever you watch an ad, you like it's like you have to watch the first 5 seconds of it, and then that little skip ad button comes up. But then at the very, very beginning of the commercial, they'll say something like, "Hey, wait, before you click that skip button, listen to this fantastic deal." Ugh. Yeah, it's stupid. It's stupid. Like I mean, ultimately it comes down to marketing, and marketing will do whatever it can to get your attention and to hold your attention.
Yeah.
And like they'll say, that's why now if you see movie trailers in an ad before a YouTube video, they put a lot of exciting, like crazy looking stuff in the first 5 seconds. And then they'll say, hey, this is the trailer, like, because if it starts out slow, then people are going to be way less interested and go ahead and skip it. Because, like, when you're in a movie theater and you watch movie trailers, they can do whatever because you're going to watch the whole trailer because you want to see the movie after the trailer. Now, I think generally people actually enjoy watching movie trailers, but people do not like ads before their YouTube videos. So that marketing department has got to put the most exciting, crazy-looking stuff in the first 5 seconds because they know that the YouTube, the normal YouTube threshold for that.
They got to make it baitable, so to speak.
Yes, they got to make it where, okay, what can we do in the first 5 seconds before the user clicks skip ad to hold their attention and make them not click skip ad,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, when it comes down to it, it's really just, it's all marketing and, what can we do to make more money, basically. I mean, that's how it is with all business, but.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a fight? Do we just fight? Or do we agree? What's our consensus here?
Well, I mean, I don't agree with you that Spotify is better than SoundCloud.
Well, maybe you should.
What if I don't?
I just think it's like it's every single person. If you want,
I think you're scared. I think you're scared to say that SoundCloud is better than Spotify.
I'm scared of SoundCloud.
Yeah, I think you're scared. No. I'm not saying that you're scared of SoundCloud. I think that you're scared to say that SoundCloud is better than Spotify.
You mean like I'm scared to make that leap, like 100% leap from Spotify to SoundCloud?
Yeah, because you're dreading listening, trying to find all the songs. Yeah.
I don't. Look, I have my problems with Spotify, and every time I have a problem with Spotify, I tweet at them. And I tell them, look, this is terrible. Like, Spotify has made some stupid decisions, but they've also done some stuff that, I don't want to brag here, but I tweeted to them and suggested. Like, for instance, when I was making a lot of my playlists when I first started listening to Spotify, I was creating all these different playlists, and they all had names, but they didn't have descriptions because Spotify didn't have that as an option. And So I tweeted at Spotify and I said, hey, you guys should have descriptions for each playlist. And then they added it. Now, I don't know if my tweet actually, I don't know if that actually influenced them or
That'd
not.
be actually pretty cool.
I would like to know if that influenced them or not. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that had suggested that just because it kind of seems like common sense. Like if you have a playlist, it would be nice to have a description of what's in the playlist because just a title doesn't tell you everything. Because people on Spotify love to make their titles kind of like hipster sounding, you know, like just like a one word name and it doesn't really tell you exactly what type of music it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, it seems like common sense to have at least some kind of description for your playlist. But again, Spotify didn't have that. And there was a whole point in 2014. I think it was like 2014, 2015. And again, Spotify still does this now, but 2014, 15, like that Spotify desktop app was so buggy. It had so many problems, and it's like every time you update Spotify, it got worse. Like I don't know what their developers were doing or what their problem was, but every time you updated Spotify, it got worse, and you had to update. Now it's not that bad now, and of course it probably also depends on the type of computer that you have. But yeah, there was like a year and a half point around 2015 where every Spotify update was just trash, and it made the whole program worse because like they would make these little changes as far as like what you like. There was this stupid thing like with the scroller bar, like the little progress bar. You know, when you listen to a song, the little dot that's going across the line and it shows like what point of the song you're in. Mm-hmm. There was a point where I would click that and it wouldn't even work because Spotify did a stupid update and they broke that. And again, like it was so annoying because every time they did an update, it made it made the program worse. And I will say one more thing about Spotify. Like I love Spotify, but I have a lot of problems with it. And I think it's mostly because I use it a lot. Like I use it almost every day pretty much. But Spotify, if your computer is not the best computer, Spotify takes up so much memory and it really lags down your computer. SoundCloud does not do that. So I think ultimately when it comes down to it, there's going to be pros and cons for both. But if you are a fan of all types of music, not just EDM or not just rap, then I think you're going to be better going with Spotify just because there's more of a selection.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. And I mean, yeah, just that is what I was going to say too.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't know what I was going to say there.
That's okay. Do you think you'll ever go back to Spotify?
Probably not.
So
unless I just don't care about ADM anymore, which doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon.
So if there's like a really popular pop song that you like, where do you listen to it on? Like YouTube?
Yeah, I guess YouTube or yeah. I mean, I'll search for it on SoundCloud, but if it has SoundCloud Go attached to it, then I probably won't get it.
Like,
I mean, I never listen to, pop songs anymore.
I know, but what
is the thing?
What if the Jonas Brothers come out with the most catchy song ever, in your opinion, tomorrow, and you have to listen to it a lot? Like would you just go to YouTube?
Probably.
You could go back to Spotify and put it in a playlist.
Well, I mean...
And have it saved forever.
Yeah, okay, no, I'm good.
Taylor Swift hates Spotify, I think. I forgot why. I think it's because she didn't think she was getting enough money from her clicks in Spotify.
Maybe, I don't know.
I just remember there's a point like a few years ago where Taylor Swift...
She took all of her songs down.
Yeah.
I remember, I kind of somewhat remember that.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened with that or if they got it resolved or whatever, but I think it had something to do with money. I think she didn't think she was getting enough money for it or something. Because, of course, Taylor Swift is a huge name. She was probably getting millions and millions of clicks. But then maybe she didn't think she was getting enough money for it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
So what's our consensus? They both have their pros and cons?
Yeah, but from what you've listed so far, I feel like Spotify has more cons than SoundCloud.
Well, that's just because I have a love-hate relationship with Spotify.
And I just have a love relationship with SoundCloud.
Only love. You have
Only
no
love.
problems with SoundCloud.
I mean, as of right now, no, not really.
Really?
Really.
Not even the SoundCloud Go thing?
I mean, as of today, there is, like, that doesn't bother me in the slightest because it's just like only a few songs. I mean, I can find the song somewhere else. Now, it has nothing to do with this is the only thing that I can think of that is a little bit annoying that we haven't mentioned so far. When using the SoundCloud app, if you're on your phone's lock screen and you pause your music or whatever, and then you go back to play the music, sometimes it'll automatically just pause the music again, like an instant, and then you have to re-press the pause button in order to play the music in, and then it'll start playing. That's the only other thing that I haven't mentioned that I can think of that's a con for the SoundCloud app, so to speak.
I have seen that as well. I think you showed me that once. Or I think it happened to me while you were in the car with me, and you were like, yep, that does that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's an Apple thing, because I have an Apple phone, or if that's just a SoundCloud app thing.
That is a very good question. I would assume it's just a bug in the SoundCloud app, because do other apps do that? Do other apps do that?
Well, no, because I only listen to SoundCloud app.
I know, but like if you listen to, you don't listen to Spotify, do you?
Well, I mean, no, I don't. But I mean, like for instance, if I'm listening to one of our podcasts, like on Apple Podcasts,
does it do it then?
I don't think so, because it's been a little while since I've listened to a podcast. But
figures. That's why our numbers are so low.
but I think it's only happened to me on SoundCloud.
Well, I would say if other apps do that I would say if other apps do that same thing, then it's a phone problem. If only SoundCloud does it, then it's probably an app problem.
Maybe it could.
Maybe if it's only that app, it's probably just a SoundCloud problem. Maybe they are already aware of it. Oh, wait, have you updated the SoundCloud app recently?
Oh yeah, I've updated it. Yeah, there's been multiple updates since it started happening, and it's still yet to be resolved. So I'm assuming that it is a SoundCloud problem,
right,
and not an Apple problem.
It probably is. I don't know how this just turned into a SoundCloud app support phone call, but it probably is.
And then it turns into SoundCloud, then it goes to Spotify, then it turns to SoundCloud.
Yeah, maybe this is more of just a whine fest. Just like Spotify and SoundCloud, just like be better. My goodness.
Well, I mean, that's why SoundCloud is better, though.
No comment. I think SoundCloud is better than Spotify at some things, but Spotify is better than SoundCloud at more things. It outweighs the differences. Did someone just laugh?
That was me. Don't.
That was you. Wow, you have a very high pitched laugh.
I have a pitched laugh, don't I?
So, well, okay, that little argument discussion went a lot longer than I thought it was going to go. Do we want to talk some recent releases or some?
We can if you want to.
If I want to.
We can't. Well, I mean, I'm just looking at the time of how this episode is going.
Well, I think it's worth mentioning a few recent releases.
Because, I mean, if we're just only going to do the couple releases that we mentioned, or that you mentioned to me.
Yeah.
We can't.
I think probably the biggest one has to be the Excision Apex Remixes CD, which I mean, I would just say that's worth mentioning just because Excision is basically the king of dubstep. Is he the king of dubstep? That's a whole nother decision for a whole nother discussion.
I mean, I think that's an opinionated question. I don't think anybody is really the best at making music.
No, not the best, the king.
Well, I mean, when you say the king, I mean, do you not mean the best?
No, I mean like the most popular, right now at least.
Of just strictly dubstep?
Yeah. That's a whole nother discussion, because I've been thinking like we could have an episode where we do like EDM royalty, because who's the queen of mid-tempo? Rezz. Who's the king of mid-tempo? Kid or 178L, right?
Okay.
And then Slews is obviously the prince.
Who's the jester?
The jester. That would be.
All right. Okay.
I don't know. This is getting complicated.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think it's worth mentioning the Apex Remixes CD, which is straight fire.
Yeah, they are.
I just want to mention a few of the most surprising ones to me. It's got how many songs are on this thing? It's got a lot of remixes, and
I'm pretty sure there was one for each song. Right?
Yeah. I think you're right. I bet a lot of people, like a lot of EDM artists, submitted songs, and then he just picked the best one for each song.
I don't know.
I don't know if that's true or not.
Maybe he specifically asked these people to remix these songs.
There's no way. He had to have done some kind of remix contest. Why? If that's the case, then why did he say, I want a remix from Slander and Shadient? Like, that's so random. That collab is so random.
Okay, I mean, whatever. Well, like I said, I mean, Shadient just released off of Good Vibrations, so.
Yeah, I know it makes sense, but I'm just saying, like, Slander and Shadient is such a random collaboration. At least in my opinion. Maybe it's not. I mean, it's two different types of music. But anyways, so I have to shout out two of these songs in particular.
Okay. Which ones?
These were my two. I think these are my two favorite, and they were the two biggest surprises of the CD. The Champagne Drip remix of Hoods Up, which, my goodness, I did not know Champagne Drip was capable of making that type of sound. That was fantastic. And then the Squanto remix of Fight Through the Pain. That's got to be one of the most intricate sounding dubstep songs I've ever heard. Like, there's so much going on in that song, and it works. The first drop especially works very well. But there's so, like, whenever Squanto drops it, there's so many different little sounds and so many different little things going on, in each measure of the song. And, that one's fantastic. I think those are the two main ones that I really liked that were surprises. The Mastodon remix tonight was definitely worth mentioning. Mm-hmm. G-Rex has got a remix on there. You got, like we said earlier, the Slander.
I thought the G-Rex remix was really good.
Yeah, it's good. G-Rex is. I would love to see a G-Rex set, just because that G-Rex's music is so unique and it's just so dark and weird sounding. Mm-hmm. So I feel like G-Rex is never gonna have like a good headbanging song, but as far as like just listening to like low frequency bass music, G-Rex is where it's at. I was thinking about this earlier. We've got a 12 Planet remix. We've got the Gold Stupid Love remix from Black Tiger Sex Machine.
BTS.
So that song. Did you like that?
I thought it was okay.
That song, it sounds nothing at all like the original.
No. The original of Gold is way much better than the BTSM remix.
It like that. Yeah, the BTSM remix sounds completely different. Completely different. There were two disappointments I had.
Uh-oh, please don't tell me it's one of these that I'm thinking of.
So
I bet you that is.
What? There's two of them that you really like that you don't?
Well, one of the two that you're about to mention.
Okay. Boogie T remix.
Okay, and?
And Downlink remix.
Okay, good.
Those are my two disappointments. Which ones were your disappointments, or the ones that you really like?
I thought the Spag Heddy remix was good.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it as well. Wait, did I like it? Yes, I did like it.
Oh, did I like it? Hold on. Oh yeah. I liked it.
Well, I had to go search in my organized Spotify playlist.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so organized and clean looking, unlike SoundCloud, which is a little messy.
Kind of going back to the SoundCloud Spotify thing.
Oh, we're going back. Great.
Okay, so whenever you insert a song into the playlist, does it appear at the top of the playlist or at the bottom of the playlist?
Well, it depends. It just depends on how everything is organized. Technically, it inserts it at the top, but that's because it's sorted by the date. With the most recent ones being at the top.
So whenever you add a song to the playlist, it inserts it at the top of the playlist.
Technically, yes, but you can change that.
Because for playlists in SoundCloud, it's opposite, but it's the same way for the liked in SoundCloud. Like, whenever you like a song, it appears at the top of your liked, but whenever you place a song inside of a playlist in SoundCloud, it appears at the bottom.
Wow, that's very confusing.
I don't have a problem with that. It
sounds like you do. It sounds like you are just realizing how much superior Spotify is.
I mean, it could be a little bit more consistent, but that's okay.
Well, it could be a little more consistent, but it's whatever. We're just here. We're just here
having a great time,
Oh boy! All right, you said company. What was the other one?
I said Spag Heddy.
Spag. Wow.
Company's remix was pretty good too. I mean, they're all very good.
What were you had another top one though? Spag Heddy and who else?
Well, okay, so I was saying, I was hoping the two that you were not as interested in was not the Spag Heddy remix.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, that was the only one.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the Spag Heddy, because it's got the Spag Heddy sound, but it's like,
yes.
Yeah,
no, really the only two that I was disappointed in were the very last one, which is the Downlink remix. Mm-hmm. And then the Boogie T remix of Fall. Those are my two disappointments. The two sleepers though, the ones that I really enjoyed were the Champagne Drip and Squanto remixes. Those were awesome.
I remember that the Champagne Drip was really good.
Yeah, that one was hard.
Mm-hmm.
Can I please talk about one more thing before we go? Oh my goodness. ATLiens. That is how you pronounce their name, correct?
I have no idea.
I hope so.
I'm hoping it is too.
I sure hope so.
I hope maybe somebody can correct us if they listen to this.
I think it's ATLiens. If it's not, then we're.
It makes sense that it's ATLiens, or it could be Atlanteans, or
no, I don't think it's Atlanteans.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's ATLiens, but
okay.
My goodness, did you listen to that EP, Ghost Planet?
I did listen to it.
Oh my goodness.
Where's
that EP has about 3 songs that I think I would put on my top 20 list right now. Did you like all the songs on there, or did you?
Hold on 1 second.
But while Alex is trying to find that,
yes.
ATLiens is the trap artist that always has a very specific type of vocal. It's like the. All right, I'm gonna attempt to do this. It's like. Yeah,
I mean, they just have like, who's that? What's the guy? I forget his name. I think. Anyway, but yeah, usually in their drops they always have like a monotoned sound guy set like. Or whatever sounding.
It's ATLiens.
Yeah. That's kind of like whenever you say ATLiens, I mean you kind of just know. Okay, so it's going to be that kind of a drop.
Well, the drop I don't know about, but that weird vocal sound, yeah.
Yeah.
But what I think is unique is that the vocals are weird, but it definitely works. Somehow they make it work. Do you remember the collab that they did with Bass Nectar called Interlock?
Yeah, I do remember that. It's been a little while since I've heard that, though.
That song was, well, at least the drop, it was such a simple and minimalistic drop. It was literally just, like, the vocals, like, just, like, the, it was just that with a bass line, like, with a trap bass line.
Right.
But it just works somehow. I can't explain it. And on this EP, they've got one song called Tantra, and it's very similar to that Interlock song.
Mm-hmm.
The two songs on this EP that, well, actually there's three that I would consider putting on my top 20 list right now. But the first song on the EP is kind of just like an intro song. It's not really a song. It's just kind of some sound effects and stuff and some talking, I believe. But the second one is Shelter, Shelter came out early. They released Shelter before they released this full EP. But then they've got the third song on the EP, Fading Out, featuring Sarah Skinner. Oh my goodness, that's such a hard future bass song. That was great. And then they've also got a song with Heritage, a collab with Heritage called Exterminate. And my goodness, that song is such a hard dubstep song, but it fits and works really, really well. Mm-hmm. Those are my two. Well, Fading Out, Exterminate, and Shelter were my. Those are the three songs on the. Well, honestly, all of these songs gave me like goosebumps, but those three songs made me think, "Ooh, okay."
Yeah, those three songs were really, really good.
I was just thinking those three songs are the ones that might come back in our top 20 list later on. I'm just saying, it's a possibility.
Okay.
Anyways, I thought that was worth mentioning just because, obviously Excision is a big name. ATLiens is not as big as Excision, but that EP is definitely worth a listen just because it's just a unique sound. And it sounds like ATLiens is really starting to figure out what their stride is going to be in the trap and bass community. And I am 100% in support of that. Great sounds.
Yeah, I really like ATLiens as well.
Let's see. Is there anything else we want to talk about or that we need to discuss? I know I saw a little article about Ultra is coming back to Miami next year. I don't know if you saw this or not. But,
I would assume that it always is.
Well, no, there was some problems with their contract after the 2019 Ultra. And there was problems with their contract in the city of Miami. And with it being on that Bayfront Park, which is like literally right in between downtown Miami and the ocean, basically. Right. That park is like a public park, and it's used for a lot of different things, especially this year. Well, sorry, not this year. Next year, when I believe the NFL Super Bowl is going to be in Miami this year. And so they'll use that Bayfront Park for some, for events and stuff then. And then Ultra is a huge festival that takes several weeks, I believe, to get set up. And so they will, they usually I don't know if they shut down the entire park, but they have to shut down parts of it to start building that up. And so I think a lot of, people that live in Miami are a little bit fed up with so many things happening there. And on top of that, Ultra Miami takes place right next to downtown, right next to hotels, right next to apartment buildings, and I think they were getting a lot of complaints because the music is so loud. And so I saw that part of this new deal that allows Ultra to stay in Miami at that Bayfront Park is that they have to keep their decibel level low. Apparently the level as far as outside of the park, the limit was 110 decibels, which... it's, I don't know, there's no way to really simulate that on a podcast, but 110 decibels is pretty loud, especially if you're standing right next to the, right next
speakers,
to the,
yeah.
Well, not next to the speakers, but right outside of the venue. It's pretty loud.
Okay.
It's pretty loud. It's loud enough so that you can hear everything very well, if that makes sense, right outside the park. But I heard that part of the new contract is that has to be lowered to 102 decibels. And they are getting rid of, I think, 1 or 2 stages. So there's not going to be as much sound and noise in the area. And on top of that, all of the speakers will have to be turned down a little bit. Now, I don't know if that's going to affect with the overall experience of the music festival, because obviously that's one that we've never been to. But secretly, I was kind of hoping that Ultra would have to move to a different state, because if Ultra leaves Miami, then guess what guess what EDM festival just became the biggest in the state of Florida? EDC Orlando. Because the only other competition it has really is, you've got the Okeechobee Festival, which,
that's true. Okeechobee Fest,
is not really an only EDM festival. It's all types of music. Really, the only other ones are Sunset Music Festival in Tampa, and that one's only got 2 stages. And let's see, we've got this Forbidden Kingdom one, which is very new, but that's kind of it's kind of like Excision. It's kind of like an Excision. Well, sorry, it's kind of like a Lost Lands, but for the state of Florida, except it's only 1 day and only 1 stage. But I mean, yeah, if Ultra leaves Florida, then EDC Orlando just became the biggest EDM festival in the state of Florida. But again, that's not happening this year. So. There's pros and cons, because obviously you and I would like to get over to Ultra Miami sometime just to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
But, that hasn't happened yet, unfortunately. So that's just a little bit of news and some releases we wanted to talk about. Is there anything else we need to mention?
I don't know if you wanted to mention Rezz's new EP.
Yeah, it's worth a mention. Rezz got a new EP. All right,
okay,
thanks everyone. Yeah. So I feel like we talk about Rezz a lot because our last episode was pretty much all about her. Well,
yeah.
But it is worth mentioning that she also came out with an EP called Beyond the Senses.
Did you see that she VR'd? She VR'd live streamed.
I did see that. What
EP?
exactly was she? It's like she was dancing. You could watch it like a computerized version of her dancing.
Right. Yeah. I guess I don't know what program or what. I don't know how she did it through the VR, but apparently, if you had a VR, you could watch her DJ it live.
You had to have VR to watch it?
Well, that's yeah. She did it specifically for VR.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but how many EDM fans are going to take the time to set up VR just to watch a Rezz set?
I don't know.
Maybe.
I feel like we would be surprised.
Maybe we would be. Maybe we would be. The highlight of that EP has to be the Death Pact.
Oh yeah.
Kiss of Death, which is basically just a sequel to their other song, their other collab, which was called Life and Death, and then now this one's called Kiss of Death, and that's a super hard song. That's a great song. The first song, Dark Age, was good as well. The Sayer collab is good.
Oh yeah, that Sayer collab was
the Sayer collab is good. And by the way, I love these, like when these artists are coming up with these fantastic names. The name of the Sayer Rezz collab is Your Soul Will Never Be Released.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty intimidating song name, but love it. Absolutely love it. All right. Anything else we need to discuss? Do we need to? No, we're done with SoundCloud, Spotify, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Because I feel like we could have that discussion for a long time, but to each his own.
Yes.
All right. Take care. Good night. Thanks for listening.
See you guys in the next one.